Hello and welcome to a spooky edition of Rebel Watch. I'm Browning Stubbs, Matt Ward, Colin Cody, Madison Amon. Halloween's this weekend, guys. How are y'all feeling?
I'm feeling really excited. I can't wait to get out on Saturday night.
I'm ready, man. Well, I'm a Halloween baby, so I'm going to be celebrating all weekend.
It'll be real fun. I'm looking forward to it. Halloween's my favorite.
But before we get to Halloween night, Ole Miss, the football team, they are back in action at Auburn Saturday at 11 o'clock a.m. It's going to be a big game. You know, Auburn, guys, we thought they'd be this top 5 team in the country, a real threat. But you know what? They've kind of been struggling. But, you know, nonetheless, it's still going to be a tough challenge for the Rebels.
Yeah, for sure. Having some trouble there at the quarterback position, not really being able to find their way on the getting their wins.
Yeah, and guys, for the Rebels, they got back on track last week against Texas A&M, and Auburn is going to be a really tough matchup. Our very own Bailey Brassif has more on this weekend's matchup.
Yes, definitely not on the same page.
That was Nick Harvey doing some talking. Bootleg left, and Kelly's throwing deep to Treadwell's. Got him out there. He's got the catch, and he is in the end zone. Touchdown.
On Saturday night, the Ole Miss Rebels took on the Texas A&M Aggies in a game that most people didn't think the Rebs had a fighting chance in. After the loss against the Memphis Tigers, the Rebs were counted out. Even Rebel fans began to jump off board. But the Rebs showed up and showed out on Saturday, winning the game 23-3. This win moved the Rebs up to number 19 in the nation, and A&M was knocked out. Although it was a great team win, many contributed largely to the fact that star offensive tackle Laramie Tunzel was able to return this game.
With them coming back, it gave everybody pretty much their comfort zone back. Everybody got back to playing their regular position, and he definitely helped us in the passing and the run game.
I mean, Laramie, he's arguably maybe the best tackle in America.
Laramie was absolutely huge to get back this week, simply for logistical reasons.
Looking forward to this weekend, the Rebels are going to be taking on the Auburn Tigers at Jordan-Hare Stadium. The Tigers aren't quite having the season that everybody was expecting that they might, but they're still a huge SEC threat, and the series history shows it. Auburn leads the overall series 29-10 and have won the past 2 years, but last year's win will only bring motivation to the Rebs. Star wide receiver Laquan Treadwell was injured for the rest of the season after a heartbreaking goal line stop. Treadwell said this week, quote, "They are going to feel my pain." And looking forward to the rest of the season, the Rebels have 4 hard-hitting SEC opponents left on the schedule. Auburn this weekend, Arkansas, Ole Miss does get a bye before LSU, and then Mississippi State to follow shortly after. The Rebels celebration this weekend was short-lived, and with the difficult schedule ahead of us, Coach Freeze thinks that it's best to take it one game at a time.
Knowing Gus like I know him, they'll be ready to go. He'll have them ready.
I think we really turned around this weekend. That loss from Memphis really stung, and it could have been an integral turning point in the season. Our guys could have put their head in the sand and given up and came out and laid an egg, but they really did the opposite.
I expect we're going to see the best Auburn team of the entire year.
The SEC championship is certainly still in reach. More players are becoming healthier, and the Rebels control their own destiny this season. Reporting for Rebel Watch, I'm Bailey Brassif.
Late in the season last year, the Rebels were in talks with making the college football playoffs. The number 3 Auburn Tigers shut down the number 4 Rebels' hopes for a spot. One player lost more than a game. Shannon Deloche takes us back to that night.
Laquan Treadwell grew up in Crete, Illinois, and signed with Ole Miss as a top receiver out of high school.
I told myself if I was going to play somewhere, I was going to play with the best play, and I wanted to challenge myself. That was something I put in my head. I wasn't going to go anywhere easily and look like a star. And when I met Coach Freeze, and his dream and what he wanted to do with this program, that fit what I wanted to do in my high school program, be the first one to win, a state championship. And, coming here, it was like this kind of the same thing, underrated, a lot of guys who wanted it worked hard.
In October last year, Ole Miss was trailing Auburn 35-31 with less than 2 minutes in the game, but the Rebels were making their way towards the end zone. The next play changed the outcome of the game and Treadwell's season.
I caught the ball, and I just took off sprinting for the end zone. I gave all my effort on that play, and I just, laid it all on the line. I figured I crossed the power line, so I was like, all right, he tackled me, crossed the power line. And then I heard a pop. It just didn't feel right at all, so I let the ball go. I tried to get up. I didn't want to believe that my ankle was broke. It was just, it was a sad day for me, but I tried to keep my spirits up.
It was here in this exact spot last year that Treadwell's season was cut short, and the Rebels' hope for a spot in the college football playoffs ended as well. This weekend, however, the Rebels travel to Auburn, and Treadwell is ready to prove that he is back and stronger than ever.
It's going to drive us to play a little harder. You know, they've beaten us the last 2 years, my freshman year and my sophomore year, and then I got hurt in the game. So, I mean, it's a lot more meaning to this game, you know. It's a lot at stake, you know, and we'll play together. It's not even about revenge. I think we'll just play for the love and have passion, and it'll be a passionate game.
Treadwell currently ranks 7th in school history for total yards and looks to add to that total this Saturday against Auburn. Shannon DeLoach, NewsWatch.
It's going to be an interesting one in Auburn tomorrow, but football isn't the only sport that's on fire right now. When Rebel Watch returns, we'll talk to some Ole Miss soccer players and see what's making this year's team successful. We'll be right back.
The stop, centers it into the box. Chance here for Ole Miss. Loose ball. Kaiser bangs it in the left corner, and Ole Miss takes a 1-0 lead.
For the first time in history, the Ole Miss soccer team is ranked 12th in the nation. For Coach Matt Mott, the recognition isn't something to focus on. It's all about the game.
You know, as far as beating good teams, our league's just full of them. So it's a tough game every single night in and out, and we've been very fortunate to get on this kind of winning streak and playing well at the right time, and I'm really happy with how we're playing, and because we're playing well, we're able to get the victories.
Part of the team's success can be attributed to freshman CC Kaiser. In her first season with the program, she has broken multiple records and become one of the top scorers in the SEC.
And I never really thought my freshman year would be like this, but it just feels great, and to be on such an amazing team like this is pretty incredible.
Ole Miss is seeded 3rd in the SEC tournament behind Florida and Missouri. Despite making it into the tournament, Mott says the team still has goals to achieve.
It's going to be important for us to keep focused on the things we can control and then try and continue to climb that ladder and win games in the tournament.
Coming up, I'll sit down with Ole Miss soccer player Maddie Friedman, who will preview the SEC tournament. Rebel Watch will be right back. Back to Rebel Watch. I'm now joined by Ole Miss soccer center back Maddie Friedman. Maddie, how's it going?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing well, and we're all happy that the Ole Miss soccer team is having a fantastic season, thanks to Maddie and the rest of the Ole Miss soccer team. But Maddie, I want to first ask you about something that happened over the summer. You had back surgery, and that kind of delayed your start to the season. Kind of talk about the injury and how you rallied from it.
Yeah, it's called a microdiscectomy. So basically I had a herniated disc that was putting pressure on my nerve, and they just went in and snipped it off to relieve the pressure. It was a trying time for sure, but I think it gave me motivation moving forward and also gave me a different perspective of the game that I hadn't had before. Because when you're on the field, you can't really see what's going on as well as you can off the field. So it gave me a chance to, I guess, hone in on skills that I hadn't practiced for some time, and I guess see the game differently, and also gave me a chance to focus on being a really good teammate and checking in with how my teammates were doing throughout preseason, because that's such a hard time for everybody. So I think I learned a lot, and it pushed me forward and gave me a lot of motivation for when I could play.
Maddie's been a starter all 4 years at Ole Miss. You know, she's been to the NCAA tournament, and you had a tough year last year, your junior year, but a lot's changed. Mm-hmm. What's changed from last year?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. Things are just kind of coming together for us. In the spring, we practiced on making ourselves better individually. And then I think that our chemistry off the field has really translated to the field. So this year, we just seem to be clicking better and connecting passes better. And I think also we have a motto, it's called tougher than the rest. So it's about being aggressive and just kind of laying it all out there. And I think that that's really shown this year as opposed to last year.
Now, Ole Miss, they will now go to the SEC tournament next week, taking on the Texas A&M Aggies. You guys just knocked off the Aggies. What's the mindset for the tournament? I mean, I'm pretty sure at this point you guys feel like you're locked to make the NCAA tournament, but you still got to finish the season strong.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, playing Texas A&M is always a tough game. It's a tough match, but it's something that we always get up for. We know it's going to be a battle, but those are the best kinds of games. So we're really excited about it. We're excited to play them again, and I guess kind of prove that we're here to stay.
Well, Maddie, from Rebel Watch, we all want to wish you good luck the rest of the season, and hopefully you guys can take on the SEC crown.
Thanks.
Maddie Friedman for the Ole Miss soccer team. Coming up, we're going to talk your favorite Oxford and Lafayette football. Stay tuned for Rebel Watch. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Rebel Watch. Tonight, the Oxford Chargers take on the Center Hill Mustangs. But as the season winds down, the search for the new head coach is heating up. We're going to send it out to our workhorse, David Kennedy, who is at Bobby Holcomb Field. David?
Thanks, guys. I'm at Bobby Holcomb Stadium right now where the Oxford Chargers just left for Columbus, Mississippi to take on the Center Hill Mustangs tonight at 7 o'clock. With the end of the Johnny Hill era looming, I got a chance to talk to a few players, Johnny Hill himself and the AD, to see who they think should be the next Oxford head coach.
Whole different ball of wax, and that'll come down to principal, athletic director, and superintendent. They'll probably get a committee, and then they'll do what they do.
We're going to hire the best candidate. That's truly the only criteria. We will take the applicants individually, and there is no preconceived hire someone from here or there or anywhere. We're looking for the best candidate.
If the Chargers hire in-house, they have plenty of options who the players respect and that can lead the team.
Coach Cut, Coach Russell, just those type of coaches, the ones that they're really, I don't know how to explain it, but they want everything to be perfect, and I mean, that's what coaches got to do.
Another good candidate would be former Ole Miss All-American and defensive line coach Terrence Metcalf, who played in the NFL for 8 years.
I think Coach Metcalf can be a good coach because he always pushes us to do strive better and to do better things, and he just every opportunity we get, he just always pushes us to do better, and we always reach that limit right there. So that's why I think Coach Metcalf is a good coach for that.
One thing's for sure, the next head coach will have some work to do with seniors DK Metcalf and Jack Abraham departing for college football.
I think somebody with a lot of energy that get us motivated to come out each and every day and get better and work hard because of the speculations of we're not going to be near as good.
Now, the decision won't be made till after the season is over, and Johnny Hill has already told me that he will have no say in who will be the next head coach. More than likely, it will be an in-house hire, but one name to keep a lookout for is Stan Hill, who's the son of Johnny Hill and the current head coach of New Albany High School. Reporting for Rebel Watch, I'm David Kennedy.
Thanks, David. And Lafayette has been on a roll so far this season, minus their game last week against Senatobia, but they have a lot to look forward to. After a tough loss to Senatobia last week, the Commodores are out and ready to play this week for the last regular season game of the season.
It's a lot of motivation is to respond from a loss. One, we felt like we should have won. That's motivation to play better. We thought we played really bad in a lot of different areas.
Not only are they looking to rebound from last week's loss, but tonight's game has a lot of impact on the postseason.
It's a region game. It's a game we need to win to, for sure, guarantee ourselves second place. We're pulling for Rosen Fort to beat Senatobia, which would give us first place.
Although tonight has a lot riding on it, the game is important since it will be the last regular season game for the seniors.
Senior night, our seniors have put a lot of time and energy and effort into our football program here, and we want to play well for them.
Overall, it should be an exciting night for the Commodores in their last regular game of the season.
Guys, going to have some great high school football tonight. Can't wait. But who's going to win the Halloween matchup between the Rebels and the Auburn Tigers? Well, we're going to make some predictions for tomorrow's matchup, and we'll be joined by a special guest picker coming up on Rebel Watch. It is Nemo the Chihuahua, as you see. Nemo is wearing a Ole Miss jersey. He's a big Rebels fan, and let's see if Nemo's going to pick the Ole Miss. If he picks Ole Miss, he's going to go in here and find a treat. He smells something. And he's picking Ole Miss because he went for the football. Gotta love it. Gotta love Nemo. All right, now let's make our own picks. Madison?
I am going to go with Ole Miss 42-9. I think that despite the fact that they're all saying that this is not a revenge game, we all know that this is a revenge game for Ole Miss after Laquan's injury. So I'm definitely look out for Ole Miss to be on fire and ready for the Tigers.
And I'm going 28-21. I'm still your pick from last week. I don't think Auburn can stop the run. I mean, they're 101. Where their opponents average 200 yards against them throughout the season, so they won't be able to stop Tunsil if we get Jalen behind them.
And I'm going 24-14 for the Rebels. I think the Landshark D, after that impressive game against Texas A&M, comes out and holds them to just 2 touchdowns, and the Rebel offense finds a way into the end zone a couple times and adds a field goal.
I got 31-20. I think Ole Miss is going to do very well, and the offense will be back on track. Nemo likes the Rebels to win. We all do, and that wraps up our broadcast. Follow our Twitter at @Rebel_Watch. Good night.